Hello everybody, welcome to World of Warcraft. Today I'm going to be doing just an overview of each class in the game. I did one of these a while ago and it's pretty outdated now and it's kind of rambly, and I kind of want to do one that's a bit more, not necessarily focused, because I still want to make individual videos for each class, but just kind of a beginner's guide to each class, an updated version of that, going into, midnight and all that, just to help people, pick a class. So we're gonna get right into that. I have every single class, except 3 of them up to max level, and that the ones that I don't are, Warlock, Warrior, and Evoker. But Warlock and Warrior I've played up to max level during Dragonflight, and then Evoker is the only one I don't have a lot of experience on, though it is the last class, so hopefully by the time I get to them in their separate video, it will be fine. So, and I'll have experience, so I'm planning on doing that. So we're gonna get right into it. So first thing obviously you're doing when you create get into the game is creating a character. Race is personal preference. You have all the races here on the leftmost and rightmost sides here are these are just your normal races. And then the ones on the inner left and right, these are your allied races, so they will start at level 10. You have to unlock them through special achievements and questing, that type of thing. Once again, it doesn't, unless you are min-maxing to the nth degree, play what you just want to play. Play, if it is a class race combo you want to do, just do it. Don't worry about like racials, that type of thing. Just play what you want. So we're gonna get right into it. I'm just gonna keep on a human. First, we're gonna start right down the line with the Warrior. This is a two-handed DPS and a tanking class, so they have 2 DPS and a tank. So the tank is protection. They use a sword and shield. Very classic tank. You're popping defensives, that type of thing. They have 2 DPS, like I said. We have Fury, which is two-handed weapons, and you're kind of like a berserker. You're just going crazy, doing a bunch of damage. And then Arms, which is 1 two-handed weapon, and just kind of slower play style, but still very fun. Next, you have Hunter. This is a ranged DPS class. They have 3, as well as a melee DPS, I should say. You have Marksman, which is kind of your lone wolf, like when you think of a ranger type thing, so no pets and like sniper shot type thing. You have Beastmaster, which is the complete opposite. You have 2 pets and you're kind of commanding them and doing like bleeds and stuff. Then you have Survival, which is a melee based. You're up with your pet in melee range, throwing bombs and using like a spear or sword or whatever, and it's a 2-handed weapon. Next, you have the Mage. This is also a pure DPS class. They have 3 different specs as well. You have Arcane, which is like super bursty, very mana hungry. This one's probably alongside Fire, kind of more advanced to play. You have Fire, like I said, it's about ramping damage, applying burns, that type of thing. Pretty complicated to play for a new time player. Though there's also Frost, which is their last spec, and Frost is all about CC and kind of doing like big like freezes and stuff like that. This is a very beginner friendly spec, not to say that it's bad in late game or anything like that, or like high-end gameplay. It's very good, though it is a pretty forgiving class as well. Next, we have Rogue, another pure DPS class here. 3 specs as well. You have Outlaw, which is kind of like your pirates type thing, so you're running 2 one-handed weapons that are not daggers. You're using a flintlock. You're building combo points. You're rolling dice to kind of to keep luck rolling, that type of thing. You have Subtlety, which is kind of like a ninja. So you're stepping in and out of like stealth, and you're doing like big crits and stuff like that. Then you have Assassination, which is all about applying poisons. It's kind of similar to Subtlety, but like I said, more poison oriented. Priest has 2 healers and a DPS. I'll start with the DPS. DPS is Shadow, so you're applying like dots and weird like Cthulhu, Lovecraftian like shadow magic and stuff like that. Lots of fun. They have Holy, which is their first healer spec. This is your bread and butter light healer. You are, using Holy Light to heal. Then they have Discipline, which is a little bit different. You are putting shields and something called Atonement on your allies, that when you do damage to enemies, it will heal your allies. So it's a bit more of an advanced healer class. It's a bit hard to manage that, and shields and actual heals and doing damage. So it's definitely more of an advanced healer. Next is Warlock, another pure DPS class. You have Affliction, which is kind of like diseases and curses, mainly curses, that you're putting onto targets, kind of a dot class as well. You have Destruction, which is kind of like Fire Mage, but plays a bit differently. You're expending your soul shards, which is what all the specs have, to like big, like big fireballs and demons raining down. Then you have Demonology, which is kind of the pet class, which focuses on summoning a lot of demons and stuff like that. Next, you have Paladin. This has one of each. So it has Retribution, which is the melee DPS spec. You're using a big, two-handed weapon. You're calling down, you're bashing in skulls with a big, holy weapon, that type of thing. Protection, which is kind of like Warrior's Protection, Sword and Board. You're just reinforcing yourself with like Holy Light and stuff. Then there's Holy, which is the healing spec. It's a very aggressive healer. You're up in, you're up fighting and healing through that. Next is Druid. Druid is very unique. It has one of each type of thing. So it has a healer, a tank, a ranged, and a melee DPS. Starting with the melee DPS, it is feral. You turn into a cat. It's very similar to like Assassination Rogue, where you work off of like combo points and you're applying bleeds, not poisons. You have Balance, which is the caster DPS or the ranged DPS, where you're kind of, like the name implies, you're balancing like sun and moon magic and kind of keeping that in balance, and then spending that points you get on like, either stars falling down or just like one star and that type of thing. Then you have Guardian, which is the tank. You turn into a bear and kind of reinforce your fur. Big sweeping bleeding attacks. And then you have Restoration, which is a hot class or healing over time, which you apply kind of retroactively. No, excuse me, that's not the right word. Reactionary to your teammates. So you kind of have to have knowledge of the encounters. It's not like, oh crap, excuse me, not reactionary either. That's not the right word either. It's preemptively. Reactionary is when stuff's happening. I apologize. I'm not very good with the words, I guess. So yes, kind of before things happen. And you're using nature magic. Next is Shaman, which is one of my favorites. This is got a melee DPS, a ranged DPS, and a healer. Healer is also restoration. You're using like water to heal, and this is a reactionary healer. You're putting, people are taking damage and you're healing them, right? A lot of fun. Then you have Enhancement, which is the melee, and you're kind of buffing yourself with elemental magic and you're swinging maces at people. Then you have Elemental, which is you're kind of like the Avatar, so you're lightning, fire, and wind magic, and you're shooting it at people. Next is the Monk. This has one of each. A melee DPS, a healer, and a tank. Tank is Brewmaster. This, you're kind of buffing yourself with different alcohols and stuff and throwing down like explosive ones. Lots of fun. You have Mistweaver, which is another in your face kind of, you're attacking and healing at the same time, and it kind of buffs the two. So another one of those kind of more advanced healers, I would say. Then you have Windwalker, which is kind of works on like a fighting game combo type thing, where you're not doing the same thing more than once, and you're kind of like cycling your abilities in the proper way to buff them up, which is super fun. Another one of my favorites here, the Demon Hunter. So they have currently 2 specs, but we'll have a third come midnight. They have Havoc, which is a DPS, and you're very agile. You're zipping around, you're shooting eye beams at the enemy, and throwing your glaive, and it will bounce between them. Very agile. Then you have Vengeance, which is also a very agile spec, but this is a tanking spec, so you're reinforcing yourself with like demon magic and stuff like that, and obviously mitigation and tanking. And then coming midnight, they're going to have Devour, which is going to be a ranged DPS spec where you're kind of using void magic. So not a lot that I know about that currently, but once the video for Demon Hunter comes out, I'll make, I'll update everyone on that. Next is the Death Knight. They have 2 DPS, 1 tank. The tank is blood. You're kind of like a vampire, and you're reinforcing your self with like blood and using a bunch of like blood magic for tanking or damage or stuff like that. Next is Unholy, which is diseases, summoning like weird like undead creatures and stuff to help you out in damaging. Then there's Frost, which is just you're using these runes on your weapon to increase your damage and fortify yourself to do more damage. So it's kind of like a mix it's like a warrior frost mage type thing. It's kind of fun. Next is Evoker, which is only on the Drakthir race. This is the one I have the least amount of experience on, but they have 2 DPS and a healer. One of their DPS is kind of weird though. So the healer is Preservation. It kind of works like the Devastation, which is their DPS spec. So you're kind of you're healing like normal, but you also have like breath healing and stuff like that, or you're using like time magic to rewind taking damage, that type of thing. And then Devastation is kind of plays like a weird like mage hybrid thing, but you're also, like I said, with breath attacks. Like I said, I don't have tons of experience on them, but yeah. Last is their other DPS, which is Augmentation, but this is more about buffing your teammates with damage instead of you doing lots of damage yourself. But yeah, that is all the classes. Just a very brief description about all of them, where a lot of the stuff, is just very brief and may not explain everything. Just wanted to kind of get a updated thing out saying like, hey, this is like, if you want to play right now, these are the classes, what they do, what roles they fulfill. But now I'm going to go into each one specifically in their own videos, I'll start with Warrior and just go down the line. So I got to get my Warrior level up. But yeah, so that's basically it. Those videos will come out as fast as I can make them, and you can kind of see more specifically how to play them, how they feel to play, and, just starter builds for each one. So hope you guys enjoy. Hope you guys stick around for that. I know this is different than my usual Destiny content. Like I said in that one video, I'm just, I'm stepping away from that. I've played WoW for a really long time now, since Cataclysm, which was, that was forever ago. So, I played it relatively casually up until about Warlords of Draenor, where I played it a bit more. So I have a lot of experience in a lot of places, but not as much in other ones. So these guides will be as much about learning it as it is teaching. So kind of, not necessarily a new player's perspective on things, obviously, but like someone who may not be familiar with some of the stuff, and that is mainly just healing. I haven't done a lot of healing in this game, but I'm pretty comfortable in both DPS and tanking. So I'll kind of go over those in a lot of detail, and I think the healing, I won't say it will be lacking, but it will definitely be more of a thing where I might get some things wrong. I'll try not to, obviously, but just as a heads up, I will do my best in that regard as well. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys stick around for those. I know it's different. I know it's weird. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.